And in a bombshell story Charlotte broke over the weekend, it was revealed that King Charles was shockingly duped by a senior aide into signing a document appointing a colleague to a job at the palace, despite staff being instructed not to burden him as he was recovering from a round of gruelling cancer treatment. So the King's private secretary has been forced to since put an awkward U-turn on the appointment. Meanwhile, Prince Harry, remember him? He appears to have fully turned his back on the UK as he listed his primary residence as the United States for the very first time in papers published yesterday. So interestingly, Harry listed the date on the formal US residency forms as the 29th of June 2023, last year. So that was the very same day he was kicked out of Frogmore Cottage in Great Windsor Park by his dad, the King. Charlotte, thank you for joining me.
Okay.
Are we just putting two and two together here with the significance of this date? Because there were stories during the rounds today that Harry chose that date specifically because he was so hurt about being booted out of Frogmore by his dad.
Yeah, I mean, to me it feels like he's trolling his dad a bit, because he could have said that he's been a US resident since 2020 when he quit the UK and moved to the States, but instead he chose the exact day that his dad kicked him out of Frogmore. But the reason his dad kicked him out of Frogmore was because he'd slagged off Camilla in Spare. And, you know, and his dad, apparently it was a really difficult decision for Charles, because, of course, no dad wants to kick their son out of their home. But he went beyond the pale. So Charles took the difficult decision to say, look, Frogmore's been empty for years anyway. We've spent £2.4 million doing it up for you. And now you've, you know, insulted our family in your book Spare. So he just cut Harry off then. But Harry, of course, was incensed by this move, and now we discover that a Company's House document he filed only yesterday puts that exact date down. And, you know, nothing is by chance with Harry. I wouldn't put it past him to have deliberately put that in there to spite his father.
The thing that gets me, right, is Harry and Meghan left the UK. They said, we're going to focus on a new life away from the hellhole in England and all the trauma we've been through with the royal family. All they seem to have done since then is look back and complain about the way they were treated, dish the dirt on their family. And if this is right, if reports are right that he chose this date to have a dig at the King, it's just another act of his really quite vengeful nature.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of spiteful, and he, as you say, he can't let go of the past. And why is he so hung up on Frogmore? Because this is the country he was desperate to get away from. This is a house he didn't particularly want to live in, and in fact didn't live in.
Well, he was forced, by the way, to pay £2.5 million to fund the renovations after it all kicked off. I mean, would that have anything to do with...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that sort of galvanised his anger towards the whole situation. He thought he was getting a fantastic freebie. And there was, you know, there were a few reports at the time that Meghan actually thought she was moving into Frogmore House, which is a much grander property, and she sort of felt a bit sort of tricked or confused and hadn't quite realised it was actually a cottage, which is only a mere, I think it was only a mere 8 bedrooms. OK, well, we're going to get on to Prince William, his brother, in a minute, who's been doing some rather stellar work in stark contrast to Harry. But briefly tell me about this bombshell exclusive you had in the Mail on Sunday at the weekend. Well, this is a story about, you know, a mischievous herald, OK, so he's a member of the royal household, and he wanted to get a man appointed into a role.
Right.
And so what he did was he got it under the nose of the King while the King was in London. And what I discovered in this report was that I now know that when the King is in London, it's only to do one thing. It's to see his doctors and have cancer treatment. So whether knowingly or unknowingly, this herald got the document under the nose of Charles just after he'd had some cancer treatment, and Charles signed off on it. And really, there was a huge row behind the scenes because everyone knows there's a very strict protocol, which actually I didn't know about until I did the story, but there's a very strict protocol now. So if the King's in London, he's not really doing any official documents or official work. And this guy had circumnavigated the protocol to get his own way, which is sort of a side point. The main point is this new revelation, which is that the King is in London for one thing and one thing only.
So the King, just to clarify, he was, let's say, not totally with it after his cancer treatment.
Yeah, I think
he was bounced into signing this bit of paper. I mean, what does that say about the security and the future of the monarchy if you've got courtiers, is that a fair way to describe them,
totally.
shoving paperwork under his nose when he's, you know, trying to recover from quite serious treatment? Yeah,
well, I think it does. I mean, I think a lot of questions were asked, which is how it made its way to me. But trust me, Palace aides went ballistic, and the two private secretaries that look after Charles reversed the decision, U-turned it, and now the protocols are going to be more strict than ever.
OK.
To make sure it doesn't happen again.
All right, some more positive news. Earlier today, Prince William, I'm sure you've seen, he's been out and about making his first public appearance since Catherine Catherine revealed her tragic cancer diagnosis. So he visited a food charity in Surrey and a youth centre in West London. There he is with a crate of bananas. Good man.
Wow.
And yeah, he seemed eager to get stuck in. He received 2 Get Well Soon cards for the King and Princess Kate as they both continue their recoveries from cancer. Is William setting an example for his brother Harry by cracking on with royal life? Meanwhile, Harry's, he's got a new Netflix series.
Yeah.
He's kind of, not really living up to his royal potential.
Totally. I mean, gosh, it's chalk and cheese because Harry's over promoting his new series, posing up for the Netflix cameras at polo matches. Meghan is marketing her new jam. And meanwhile...
What's it called? American Orchard Riviera.
Riviera Orchard.
Make your mind up.
So she's giving her jam away for free, but to very, very wealthy people, such as the boss of Paramount Studios and all her wealthy influencer friends. Meanwhile, over here, William is giving away food to people who actually need it. And, is donning his high-vis jacket and his apron. And it's just a tale of two brothers that have gone in very different directions. And Harry's all about money and marketing now, I guess.
Just very quickly, 15 seconds. Do you think Harry ever looks back at what William's getting up to back here, cracking on with royal duties and, resents?
Well, we know he looks back. Yeah, I think he looks back and I think he thinks, well, I've gone down this path now, it's too late to U-turn. But, he is quite a charitable soul at heart. I bet he's missing out on these opportunities to be gracious.
All right, Charlotte Griffiths, editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, royal scoop getter. Thank you very much.